I'm going to focus on the people side of coaching, because if you've heard me speak before, to me, we don't coach basketball, we coach people who play basketball. And I think it's important we think about what that means. Well, the word coach originally comes from a coach, which was to carry people from one destination to the other. That's where the word came from. We are taking people on a journey. And I loved Jama last night. He was like a great segue into what I want to talk about, because he talked about the language of change. And that's what we're doing. We're taking these athletes on a journey of change. The second thing is we play basketball. We don't work basketball. Sport was not invented as a job. Sport wasn't invented as a way to get away from the job. There has to be some fun in it. Okay? And in the literature today, there's a term called transformational coaching versus transactional coaching. And a lot of this comes from a gentleman named John Cote, who's a professor at Queen's University, and another gentleman named Wade Gilbert. Wade Gilbert's put out a book recently. It's kind of the hot topic in coaching right now, but they also are involved with what's called the World Coaching Association. And there's this movement to what's called a transformational coach. And I think we've got a good example of that last night in watching JAMA. And there's really, the purpose of coaching from a transformational approach is we're trying to develop competent, connected, confident future leaders with character. We're not trying to win gold medals. That will come as a result of building confidence and competence and those sorts of things. But when we focus on the win only, and we focus on more of a transactional approach, which is if you do this, you get to play. If you don't do that, you don't play. You're much more of a transactional coach. There's a condition to me coaching you. You walk in a little late, I don't coach you now. Instead of me changing you and growing you into understanding how to be committed, I don't coach you because that's not my contract. And the problem I'm seeing in a lot of youth sports is parents have caught on to this transactional coaching and are now assuming that if my daughter or son plays for you, I should be getting this benefit in return. They should get this amount of playing time. They should be getting these offers from these universities. Why is this not happening? Where's our transaction? And they're forgetting the number one reason they're playing sport is to help them with their confidence, their competency, developing character, learning how to be a leader. That's what sport does for our country. Yes, there are a rare few who may get to play professionally or put a Canada on their plate for the national team. I'm more concerned about the mass of people that are going to get inspired by this Raptor team to play, and they're not going to get to play because we're still going to be a transactional approach. Oh no, we can only take 12 people on our team because that's what we do. And we can't have 36 kids in the gym right now. That's not how we do things. We only have a team with 12. You others can't play because we don't have enough coaches, enough gyms, and enough referees to handle what we do have now. And we're going to get this influx and we're going to turn them away because we're turning it into a transaction instead of how do we change kids' lives. That's what sport did for me, and I'm sure everybody here did it for you too. So I'm not preaching to you, I'm just saying let's remember that. Let's remember that. Okay? And that's what we really do, is change lives. Leading into that, then, is this whole idea of how do we balance individual work to teamwork. I have one practice a week with my team. They're now U19 in the U19 division. They're grade 11s, most of them. But we have one practice a week. The biggest issue I have with it is I don't get to really work on their confidence and their competency because I'm always working on the team stuff. And I don't get that one-on-one connection with them. And all I know is when I used to coach in high school and my players used to come in the mornings for individual work, That's where I built the confidence. That's where I built competency. That's where I built trust. That's where I get to know a little bit about how that person acted or worked as a person. So what I've had to do is how to sneak into morning practices, IPPs I call them, individual performance plans, into my 2-hour team practice. And what I do is I do it early. There's some sneaking it in early. I sneak it in the middle, and then I sneak it in at the end. I'll explain how I do it. First of all, sometimes we would get the gym early, and there's no one in the gym ahead of us. That is rare. How many people can get in the gym before their practice time? Like, it's not a given. But if you can, I would always be there early, and when they come in the door, I'm meeting them. Hey, great to see you. I'm connecting, and I get the sense of, right? We heard Jama talk about that last night. The second thing I'm doing is hey, when you're ready, let's go work on your shot, or let's go work on whatever it is. And just by me passing with them and talking with them, I'm starting to build that confidence, and we're working on that thing that they need to work on. And then I kind of know, okay, I've spent 2 minutes there, now I got to go, hey, how are you doing? And I could get to maybe like 4 or 5, but I try to meet everybody. But they knew that if I didn't get you to before practice, partway through practice, when we do a shooting drill, 10 of them are doing it, but you 2 are working on your IPP, that I missed you a little bit. So whenever we do shooting drills, I'd sneak in some IPP work in the shooting drills. The final way I did it is I started making cool down a lot more of an IPP. So anything that happened during practice where I could sense that some player was losing confidence and struggling, hey, well, let's get that at IPP. You and I will work on that in IPP at the end. It's kind of like that kid in the math class is, they're struggling and they stay for a little extra help. But I had to make sure it wasn't seen as punishment. It had to be seen as, oh, coach is going to work with me. This is awesome. And it was really, really helped solve some of those problems. So instead of a 2-hour practice, I'm good with an hour and a half, but I'm sneaking in a half an hour of IPP work. Because I really miss that connecting piece with those people. And because the whole thing about a transformational coach is you want to create 4 things. The first thing is the players have to know that you believe in them. That's how I inspire somebody. I inspire them because I believe in them. We saw that in greatness last night with Jama. You don't think that those players know that Jama believes in them? My goodness, the stuff that he's doing, I know you believe in me, coach. They would go to the end of the world for him of all that stuff he's doing because they believe. The number one way we show a kid we don't believe in them is what? We don't play them. Don't worry, next game you'll get in. Well, it's just, we're playing a good team today, so next game maybe. Well, you're just not ready yet. Next year will be your year. I'm sorry, the kids today are not going to stay with you. They're not going to play. I'm sure over the course of a season you can find some minutes to play somebody. And it shouldn't be that 30 seconds at the end of the game. There should be a way. If they're coming to practice, they're committing, you should be able to find a way to get that child in the game. I'm not promoting equal playing time. I'm not saying that. And I know when I'm working with our age group national teams, this is one we struggle with as Canadian coaches, is they really struggle with, and it becomes, subbing becomes more like, well, it's their turn. That's not what it should be. There's a reason why you went in the game. But what I try to explain to coaches, maybe against Spain, you're not going to play a lot today. But when we play Germany tomorrow, you'll be ready because we'll need you against Germany because we need your rebounding. All right? But against Spain, you're not going to be. They're quicker, faster. Like you'll still get in, but probably not. You're going to play a lot against Spain, but maybe not as much against Germany. So it balances out that way too. But I see a lot of times coaches, they come up with these second units, like they're copying the NBA, but they put all their weak players on the second unit. I would never put my weakest ball handling guard on with all my other weakest ball handlers. Well, they're never going to play. As soon as they get on the floor, turnover, oh, we can't have them on there, take them off. They're going to have to play with my better players. So you just got to think that through. But how can I get all those players on the floor at some time during the game. Okay? Not easy. Not saying it's easy. But if you want to inspire them, you want them to believe in you, and you believe in them, you got to do that. The second thing you've got to do as a transformational coach is role model. So if you're role modeling, building character, and you want to show respect for the officials and show respect for the other coach and show respect, and you're out there cursing a blue streak and not showing respect, well, it's not going to happen. Okay? So we got a role model. So if you're saying you got to show up and have energy, every day's a sunny day, like Jam is saying, and then you walk in and you're just moaning and groaning and you're drinking your coffee, you're not engaged, you're not role modeling. All that stuff will go out the window because it's not what you say, it's what you do. So you got to role model it. And Jamma role models it. If you've ever been fortunate enough to go watch Jamma coach, and he talks energy, he's not lying. He probably downplays how much energy he brings. I get tired watching Jamma coach. I thought, I couldn't do that. Okay. The third thing you want to do as a transformational coach is challenge. You have to challenge your athletes. The hardest one I think we have to challenge them on is how to think. And we've got some friends here from Great Britain, and we joke about this because they coach a lot of pros who come from North America. And a lot of times some of the pros who come from North America, they're not used to being asked to think. Just tell me what to do, coach. Don't be asking me to think about it, just tell me. But I think we want our athletes to think. I can't think for them in a 14-second shot clock game. I can't think. They've got to think. So I have to be constantly challenging them to think. Yes, I can also challenge them physically. I can also challenge them mentally. I always am pushing them to challenge them. And that's part of that journey we're taking them on. And then the final one is, this is a tough one, is we have to think of them as unique individuals. For years, I get frustrated with this one with our national program sometimes is, we'll have a group of athletes in an open tryout, and players, we bring all the coaches in, we're talking about player, and some will say, oh, she's too short, she can't play at the national level. What do you mean she's too short? That has nothing to do with it. If she can't defend because of her size, if she can't make passes because of her size, if she can't shoot because of her size, but it's not because she's too short. Or you'll say, well, they're not athletic enough. Whoa, well, what does that mean? There's nothing, that should not be the reason why. That's labeling somebody and generalizing and not treating them as an individual. As an individual, what is it that they can do in the concepts or skills that we're doing? And we sometimes get in, well, they're a guard, they're a wing, they're a post. Whoa. That's, again, we're generalizing. So be careful of not treating them as a unique individual and quickly labeling them as, well, that's just like so-and-so was. I guarantee you, no one's just like so-and-so, especially when we get into social emotional things that are going on in people's lives today. And if we're going to, again, change people's lives, we have to be aware of the uniqueness of those people. Okay? So that's my kind of preaching. Now, we want to look at some things in IPP. And I want to ask you some questions about how you do it. Can I have one coach who wants to volunteer to get their shot looked at a little bit? Is not afraid of getting some analysis on their shot? If not, you're going to be voluntold. Good. Let's get one ball. So, first thing is everybody starts with prior knowledge. So when I'm coaching now and I'll get people asking, Mike, can you come look at my daughter's shot, or we want to come in my practice, and they'll say, well, I want you to teach some shooting. I go, I'm not teaching shooting. I want to see what people do first. You got to know people's prior knowledge in anything. Because what we do a lot of times, we just start with, I'm assuming that everybody's starting here and they're learning, and in 5 minutes I'm going to finish here where they're learning. It's not happening. The science will tell us that's not happening. So I got to get a sense of where are we here and where am I trying to get to. So we'll just get some shooting. Just start with the right there. Go ahead. So we're just going to let him shoot. I just want you coaches to watch. Okay, we'll pretend he shot for a bit. When you're looking at skills, what they'll tell you in motor learning is there's 4 things about a skill. First of all, what is he consistently doing? So is a skill consistent? So when I'm watching him, I'm going to watch what is he consistently doing with his feet? Then what am I going to watch? What is he consistently doing with his arms? And then I'm consistently watching what he's doing with his hands in general. The second key word is stability. When it breaks down and he's no longer consistent, what caused it? Was it fatigue? Did he get tired? Was it he now had to move in a different direction? Was it as soon as I put a defender in there? Was it as soon as there was pressure on him and stress? So you've got to start to figure out what's causing the skill to break down. And that should give me a place now that I know where I'm going to start to teach from. Okay? Instead of just assuming, well, everybody's the same, I'm treating him as an individual. And I got to start to know. One of the things I also got to know is what he's consistently doing here going to transfer to the game? In other words, is the consistent movement that he's making transferable? Retention is, if I go back to him tomorrow, is he retaining what he's already doing? Is he retaining it? Or does he forget about it after a day? Or if we go later in practice, is he still consistently doing? Now that's pretty straightforward to assume, but think about ball screen defense. What are they consistently doing? Do they do it? Is it transferring to the game? And when you go to a ball drill later on, did he retain it? Okay, so they're very powerful words to help you. So when I go with our senior athletes now, mostly I work with the age group athletes, and when I go watch them in a workout, I'm just making notes on what her footwork is consistent. Is she a left-right? Is she a right-left-right? Is she a hop? And I'm watching on every spot, what is she doing with her feet? And then I go and I pick up clips from, say, OSBA, where they played in the high school league, and I'm watching the shots, what they did, and I'm saying, you know what? That's not what she practices in the gym, because that footwork is different. And then I'll talk to the coach and say, you know what? This is the footwork she's using in a game, but this is the footwork that you're doing in practice. Which one do you think? Now, in some cases, it's okay. You're going to have some variation, but eventually you want to get where you're having some kind of consistency. So I'm just trying to get you to think that you got to pay a little more attention to what you do in a practice, maybe not what you do in a game. Because first of all, how many times you get that pass in a game? It's coming straight at you. You just don't get it a lot. Okay? So I thought Jay had a great progression. Do you remember Jay's progression he talked about in the shooting the three? You just spin for a second. What did he talk about? What was the easiest three? The catch and shoot, right? Penetrate, kick, coming straight at you just like that. That was the easiest three. What was the second three? You now had to move and catch and shoot. What was the third one? There was one before the screen, the dribble. Put it on so boom, and either I'm going to slide or he said to pull up too. Then there was the coming off the screen, and then the last one was create on your own, Harden and Curry, right? But when you're thinking in an IPP, that's what you've got to do. You've got to have this vision of where am I trying to get this person? Because I'm not just going to do all season in an IPP catch and shoot threes. I got to keep challenging them to where we're trying to get to. Because eventually the defense is going to run them off the line. Or they're not going to just be able to spot up, they're going to have to move into a spot. So I've got to have a picture, what's the next load? What's the next thing I'm going to challenge them with? Okay? Very powerful stuff. Okay? Now, I can show you a bunch of this stuff, but it's going to be tough unless we get some volunteers who can go really slow. And I think it'll actually be nice for you to get up and just walk around. And then we can just walk and talk. What I want to show you is just a couple shooting games, but why I do those shooting games. Remember, one of the reasons I'm doing these shooting games is, well, let's say 10 players are doing the shooting game, what am I doing with the other 2? I'm doing IPP work with them, right? So I give them these games that challenges them a little bit, and they like the competition. Everybody likes to shoot. Okay, so can we just get, if you don't want to, you don't have to, but can I just get a bunch of coaches up here and a couple balls? We can just go with 4 coaches to start. So the first shooting game we're going to do is real simple. I just call it resiliency. In our gold medal model, one of our pillars is being resilient. What does resilient mean? What's your definition of resilient?
Keep trying even though things don't go your way.
Keep trying if things don't go your way. See, I think words are powerful, but you got to make sure that everybody understands what that word means. So we are big on language and making sure we're clear in the definition. So it's that push, keep going when you fall down, when you miss. So it's real simple. So partner the ball. Okay. Krista and names, yeah.
Nabil.
You guys go over there. Krista, you guys listen to me. Just. So, rebounder with the ball in the basket. And Krista starting real close. Start at the range where you think you can make 2 in a row real easy. Starting closer. Starting closer. So it's real simple. You've all done this drill before. You shoot. If you make 2 in a row, you back up. If you miss, you must make the next shot or else you have to go to a new spot. The good shooter on your team should end up shooting NBA threes and never have to leave the spot and then say, Coach, I'm stepping out of bounds now. I'm so good. The bad shooter will end up at 25 different spots, which makes it random for them. But the key is in this one, it's the mental toughness to make that next shot. Okay, way you go. Now, they're doing this. I'm down here with 2 players working on what they need to work on. They can do this on their own. Oh! Now, you can do this by keeping track of the number of made shots. I usually just do it by a time limit. Okay, we're doing resilience shooting for 3 minutes. And then they have their own personal records. It's like how far back I've got, how many shots I made. And stop. So what are they learning? Mistake response.
Move on to the next shot.
Got a next shot mentality. Like, I got to clear the screen, next shot. Okay? They have to learn how to self-correct. Okay, if I'm front rim, I got to get this next one up. They got to learn that on their own. They're learning their range. Because in shooting, I always talk about ROB shooting, R-O-B. What's your range? Are you open? And are you on balance? And balance involves alignment and rhythm. Okay, so they're starting to figure out range. Now, let's load this now to Jay's shooting. What would be the next type of shot we want them to take? We want them to move. So to me, one of the big things in moving is, my back's bothering me, so I can't move too fast. We don't want this kind of movement to shoot. What do we want to do? We want a crossover step. You've got to sprint the 2 and then show your chest. That's going to be very important coming off pick and pop, coming off a flare screen. Anytime I'm cutting, you've got to learn to sprint and then show your chest to prepare yourself for your shot. Okay? Don't go crazy, but you watch go over there. Now, you could have switched in this too. So the other thing is, when do they switch partners? I let them figure that out. They'll say, oh, if you make so many, then you switch, or we'll go for 3 minutes, then we switch. I'm not big on rotations. They're smarter than me. I tell them all the time, you're smarter than me, you figure it out. Why am I doing that? What did I say before? I want them to think. I also want them to be what? Leaders. If I solve all their problems and tell them everything, they never get to lead and they never have to think. And I want them to think and I want them to be leaders. Okay, so let's just try that. So same thing though, got to make 2. Away you go. Okay. Oh, we got some good shooters. And stop. That's good. So we just loaded. What would be the next thing we load in? We use J's. The dribble. They got to go off the dribble. Right? So we just give them a progression. But I can also load in where now the passer is challenging. You may have to with younger players. 2 in a row can be tough. You just got to adapt it. But it's the same thing. So it's just not always just partner shoot. There's some challenge to it. But have a progression of making it tougher for them. You're constantly loading it. Okay, let's go to the next one. Beat the pro, an old classic shooting drill. You two just take a seat for a second. So this one is, you get to shoot from your, we could go to any of Jay's progressions, or we could do this from the foul line. Let's do it from the foul line, make it simple. You have to be in a legal rebounding spot, Hugo. Legal rebounding spot. Shooter. Now again, you decide the challenge you want to put on your athletes, but if it's a perfect swish, or what we call a Brad. Everybody know what a Brad is if you've been around Sefu Bernard? Back, rim, and down with an S or swish. That's a perfect shot. To hit the back rim and go down. So if it's a Brad, that's a +2. If it's a dirty, to me, dirty if it hits the rim, that's a +1. Okay? A miss, you decide how much, but it's a -1. You're trying to get to, we pick a number, 10, before you get to -10. Okay? You decide what those are. Let them decide. Okay, go ahead. He gets a couple, Hugo, then you go. What was that? 2, 4, 6. Pretty good shooter. What's he at? 5. 6, that's a 1. 5. And stop. Now, you can have him shoot so many shots, then switch partners, or he goes by himself, then the other. What I've done is I now add in the rebounder. One of the hardest things I've ever found to work on is practicing rebounding. So here's the rule. Hugo, if you can get the rebound in the air and volley it in, that's +2 for you. If you have to land and do a fake and some kind of immediate action finish, that's +1. If it hits the floor, 0 or -1. So I'm loading in for him. No point. 0. But that's right it. Make or miss, Hugo. Make or miss. +1. Good. Yes. Fake. Good. Now, why am I adding the rebounding? Game situation. 14-second rebound. Okay? 14-second is, can I make a putback? Can I make a fake and a score? And then the immediate action is I'd pass it back out. Now, we also fool around where you can pass it back out, and if you make the shot, you both get points. But you've got to run to a 3. So you've got to run to a 3. If it's a miss and he gets it, you can run to the 3. You can either go jealous for yourself, or you can go to him for the 3 and trust that he'll get this made. Here we go. Let's watch it. Minus. and stop. But he's working on tracking too. You see the difference on how he's rebounding now? And then at first he's just kind of standing in the basket. But now you can see, like, okay, where's that going to go? And he's learning to track. So it's just loading in. And again, I'm down there working with 2 players on their shot. They're down here working. The other way I do that is, Krista, can I get you back up with your partner? And I get 2 other people just to show this one. Krista, pretend you're at that basket. Don't need a ball. No, sorry. You can stay. You can stay. I'll just use them. Pretend we've got a pair shooting there. Krista, you and your partner in the middle here. Your name again is? Just right here. We'll pretend. Just come here. I call this open shooting. Open foul shooting or open. Set up the same way you were. So let's pretend it with a team of 6, we would have 2 shooting here, 2 shooting there, probably 2 there, and then we'd have 4, it's like maybe enough, 4 in the middle. You're shooting the foul shot. Hugo, it cannot hit the ground. What we're trying to do is get 2 in a row. You would take a basket if miss, ball hits the floor, or he's not in a legal rebounding spot. So you got to picture that they're watching all the baskets.
What are we calling it again?
You just say miss or no rebounding. Go ahead, shoot. But there's pair shooting there, there's pair shooting there.
So they're good. They're going to stay.
Now we're watching. Miss! Now there's another pair trying to get that basket. And then you're in the middle. And then you're watching. An open is 2 foul shots, 2 foul shots in a row. Younger kids, 1 make, 1 make. Some days I say 2 Brads in a row. Just to give you an understanding of how good some shooters are. Elena Deladon is an amazing shooter. And Seth sends me tips on it, or stuff about her all the time. She did a shooting drill before she played. She was injured for the first game. Before she played the second game, she went in and did a shooting workout, and she shot 469 shots. She made 94% of them. And those were Brads. They weren't dirty. Think about that. She took 400 some shots, and these weren't just standing there doing it. These are moving shots. She made 94%, and they were perfect swishes. That's how good you've got to be in a shooting IPP practice to be a great shooter in the game. They just don't miss. Okay? So that's open. Now, I do it as foul shots, but I also do open where it's moving and passing shooting. So it's the same thing I did before. They're moving, and you're still watching. Whatever the rule is we put for misses, you guys will take the place. And what I like about that, too, is I don't always make it on misses. I'll make it on it was a bad pass or something where they have to start watching for perfection. And they're holding their teammates accountable. No, you didn't get out to the right spot. Oh, pass was outside the body. Load in something that you want them to focus on, and they learn to hold each other accountable. That's a skill. That's a skill you want to get through. Okay, have a seat. Okay. Now, so that's kind of how I sneak in some IPP work. We're doing some shooting games, but then I'm working on it. And the players love those kind of shooting games. And they keep records. We keep team records, and we know who's the best shooter and my best spot, or I've got to this range. And okay. The final one I do is called Kawhi. Real simple. You want to get up again one more time? You want to be Kawhi, or do you want to be Gasol?
I'll be Kawhi.
Kawhi? You want to be Gasol, right? Just be Gasol. Now we should be on that sideline. How much time's on the clock? Come on, how much time's on the clock?
10 seconds.
No.
7.
4.2. Gasol, over there. Okay, you got 4.2. Now you don't have to dribble all the way over there and shoot a fall away that bounces 4 times. You've got 4.2 seconds to get a creative score. You need a 3 to win, a 2 to tie. What are you going to do? Here we go. Inbound the ball. You're the score, you're the clock also. Once he touches it, you count down to 4 seconds.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Raptors win. Okay. I used to call it time and score shooting. Now I call it Kawhi. Kids love to do it. But how do I load it up? What would be the next load I'd put in? Defense. We go 2-on-1. We'll put an extra defender. Another way to do it is, take it out of bounds. Can I just borrow this chair for a second? This is a screen. We're not going to do this because I'll injure myself. But you can use, that may not work, but we put something as a screen, garbage can, but you can use me as a screen. Does that make sense? So you can load in where he's working how to get off the screen. We also play it where it could be a boomerang pass. He can pass back to the inbounder, but you may restrict the amount of time. Or we play it 2-on-2. But those are great. Instead of lining up at half court and shooting half court shots, I just love playing 2-on-1. Okay? And it's relevant for the players. And they love to do it. Love to do it. And we've had some games where we've got some shots off that I love it. Okay. Any questions on that IPP shooting? I'm just trying to give you some thoughts. Now, I'm real open where we go from here because it's going to be real hard for me to do what I was going to do without players. We can either do it with walking with players or we can do it on that whiteboard. But you're going to have to help me. Or I can change my topic and just go to question and answer with whatever you have. We've got about another 45 minutes.
What's the topic?
What I want to do is go over a couple what I call my base, I don't call them drills, but ways that I start drills and then show you how to load them and why we load them the way we load them. And also show how I'm teaching, say, transition defense, transition offense, and loading in some of the things that we're kind of doing at a higher level, how we did it with younger kids, but then how we change it. So one is like Serbian tip to teach transition, and then how do we load in some things that, then the other one I want to do is, I call amoeba, which is really 4-on-3 shooting, but then how we load that in to teach your transition piece. What's your preference? You tell me. People doing it? Are you one of the people?
Sure.
Let's just, can I get, I'll start with you two real simple. This is Serbian tip. We'll do the simple version first. We're not going to actually do it. The coaches will be able. Everybody will have a ball at first. Can we get one more ball for Hugo there? Real simple, toss, rebound, land like a quarterback, breakout dribble, 4 dribbles, score a layup. And I will always stand right here. So when you land, you want to land facing this way.
Okay.
Yeah. Ready?
way?
Yeah.
With my
Toss,
left hand?
toss, land like a quarterback, and you're dribbling to score a layup at that end. 4 dribbles. He should be able to get there in 4 dribbles. Yeah, far in. 4 dribbles. I have 15-year-old girls. I actually probably had 13-year-old girls do 4 dribbles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1. See, he has one more step. He's allowed one more step. The key is you got to really push it, and you got to. It's best to cross hands as you run. Why are we doing a breakout dribble? Why aren't we passing an outlet pass? We find it's quicker to break out. And what's starting to happen at the higher levels, if you always throw the outlet pass to the traditional place, teams are getting really good at jamming that. And I mean jamming you hard and forcing you up a side. But when you break out and you get by, now your first outlet's probably up there on the dribble. And that is a whole lot harder to jam. Okay? So with our senior team, we don't, Ruth Hamlin might be the only one who does an outlet pass. Everybody else is a breakout. The only trouble you run into is when they jam you, toss you though. And you start your first dribble with that hand, and then I can drive you over here. So we really work a lot on that. Your first dribble has to be north-south. So if I was here, you've got to rip it, and you've got to rip it in inside hand. Right? So he's really got to work on that rip and go. So we would do breakout dribbles, but we're also loading in the connections. We're very powerful are the words that you've got to get your athletes to use. So when you toss, you've got to yell ball. Go.
Ball.
Now freeze. Ideally, we want him to land with PVAD. Positioning, vision, to anticipate his decision. If he lands facing that wall, he cannot anticipate. So you need to be in a position to see. Okay? We can have him go the 4 dribbles. We can have him go where he does a pull-up, he does some move, or we can start to load in a random coach. So do your breakout, and I would just be, as a coach, I'm going to keep running, but if I show him a connection, he would have to make the pass. Okay? And then he keeps running, probably I'd give it back and score. So he's now having to scan, and should I pass on the breakout, or should I keep going? This is usually what I do as soon as we're done our dynamic warm-up, and we want to get some speed. Right? I'm just trying to get some speed work in. And by making them go 4 dribbles, I'm making them go fast. Now we start loading in the defense a little bit. Oh, we don't need 1 ball. You guys don't have to go all the way. So this is how we teach little kids. The first thing we teach for the little kids is the goalie. You toss, you run back and protect the basket, and you're yelling, goalie! You're the breakout, and you're going one-on-one.
Okay. He catches it.
He catches yours in the air. Yep, you toss it and go. And you're the goalie. Goalie! And freeze. No, whoa. See, he's not the goalie right now. He's now more of a director. He's guarding the ball. What does a goalie do? You got to get all the way back and guard the basket. He's the long safety. Okay? Okay? So, we won't do it. Coaches, get the understanding? What he was doing was, you were more of what we call the director. You were more picking up the ball defender. So we can do it 2 ways. Goalie, director. Okay? That's the first 2 rules of defense. Guard the basket, then guard the ball. The third rule, you're going to go and be what we call support. You're going to go long banana ball side, and I'll catch it.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Do I
Toss it, you catch it in the air. No, you got to catch it in the air. And you tip it to me. So the Serbian tip is one of these drills where I say you're hiding the vegetables in the spaghetti sauce. We're practicing tipping the ball, jumping, coordinating, so we get our tips. I'm not going to jump though. Freeze. Okay, you're now a support defender. That's the third rule. He's guarding 1.5. Hugo start to go. I've got the ball. That's who you're guarding. Where would you be? That's too easy. He gets this ball now, he can attack the middle. You've got to be up, guard him, plus be ready to help on me. No, that's still too far away. You cannot allow the pass up the sideline. We already have a goalie, and we already have somebody guarding me. You can't allow the easy pass up the ball side. Now you're in support. Can you still help on me? Can you stop the ball from getting to him? Yeah, now you're in support. This is the hardest one to get people to understand. But it's one of the most important ones. So now we've added the support.
So are you teaching deny or dissuade?
Support.
So dissuade that pass, but I'm not in a denial.
Yeah. And then it's going to be, what I always like to say now, Justin, is I'm going to give you a structure, but then you're going to be creative out of it. Okay? Structured creativity. You may be the type that can steal that. Krista may be the type, no, I'm just going to play support because that's not me. That's okay. You're still in our structure, you're still doing, but if you're creative enough and you can sense when to go, you go.
So coach, for you, would that be a position or?
This would be a third player. And now we're playing 2-on-1. But I can't score. We're just working on that, getting him to score. So now we've just practiced the 3 rules of defense. Protect the basket, guard the ball, guard 1.5 and support. Once I have those 3 rules of defense in, I can play defense, full court, half court, anywhere in the game. Can I get 6 players up? We need 6 to go slow. Let's see our shirt colors. Krista, Justin, so there's going to be 1 team. I need 1, well, no one else in the blue. I just need 1 more person. We're not going to go hard. We're going to walk this. Yeah. That's good. Can I get, the darks are going to be defense. You start in the front of the line. And then I need a blue. Krista, you're going to be dark, Hugo. You be dark. Yeah. And then Krista, defense, offense, the last person. Yeah. So we'll go slow. And what I like about this is like playing baseball with kids. What I love about the sport of baseball is that a kid gets there and he goes, okay, if the ball's hit to me on the ground, I throw it to first base. Okay. Now, if it's hit over there, I got to go to second base. If it's hit over my head, you got to think of all those things. Basketball's the same, but it just happens faster. So first defender, toss, and you are yelling out goalie, go protect the basket, go. And Justin, you're going to catch it and toss. Actually, don't jump in the air, catch it. Toss, goalie. Freeze. Now, first offensive player is long banana ball side. The reason I call it long banana is because it's the shape of banana. Second defender is support. Go right to the middle of the floor. Freeze. Krista, long banana, opposite side. Director, you're just going to come right around and get to the foul line. Point guard, breakout dribble, breakout dribble. Now we've got our 3 rules of defense. Director on the ball, support, goalie. Offense, we spread the floor with 2 long bananas and our breakout dribble. Here's the key. Hugo, go up and guard. Which way is he going to dribble? This way? That's right. That's exactly what we want to see. He supported the ball side. And now our goalie has to start to realize, does he have to stay there to be the goalie? Can you come up to a point where you can be the goalie, but you're also kind of a support too? That they can't just throw easily Krista. So this is where you got to start to help them understand the little nuances, right? Here's the key. This especially at the higher level. We don't want our goalie to have to come out and guard ball side long. I want you to think about this. I need 2 more players, and I think I can show it better. There's one, and who's got kind of like a blue? You be on the blue. We'll put you on the blue. So you're an offense. Be the rim runner. You be the release. So let's just come back, but let's just come back to the rebound right here. You rebound right here. Okay, so long banana, support. He's offense, remember. You are our other defensive player. No, hold it now. You're defense, sorry. You're going to be the rim runner on offense. Yeah. Rim runner, and let's say here. He's a little slow as the rim runner. Here they go. Go out and take her. You take support on Krista. Yep. He goes opposite side to support first. Okay, here comes the rim runner. Keep coming with the ball. You go. But they get that pass. What's open? The rim runner. You see what's happening? If you come out, we're vulnerable at the rim. We're really vulnerable at the rim. So rewind, just back up. Freeze right there, good. Support this side. Support this side. Even if he's late, you can still be a goalie and help on that side. So 9 times out of 10, we want our goalie being able to be released to the help side, not have to come out the ball side. Especially with these two-side offense, you know what I'm saying with that, where they put the 2 players? It's just, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. So this is not little kid stuff. This is more, we're advancing. So we start to load in that type of idea. And we're really working on that support person getting out. And sometimes, let's rewind all the way down. And where this really happens a lot is, let's say you were over here in the corner in offense. This is one of these problems with these, you're playing like a 5-out, really spread out. And now when the break goes, you've got to you've got to really sprint. So put them in a place sometimes where they got to really sprint to get to pick up the spots they got to pick up, not from a nice position. Okay? Any questions on that? That's fast, but that's how I introduce the concepts of offensive and defensive transition, is just playing over this Serbian tip. And we really focus on the verbals, and the players have to say it. Let's just do it one more time. We'll put all 8 in. Now, what's your role? Say, goalie,
Strong side.
long banana ball side, support,
Banana weak side.
banana weak side, director, breakout dribble, first big. If you're first big, and you're still a support, you're middle support.
Should I be
He's
here or
dribbling.
right in the back?
He's, yeah, right in the back.
Yeah,
Yep,
I should be
excellent.
in the-
Yep.
okay, that's what I thought.
And who's my first big? You're actually first big. You should be up more. You're on the.
He's on my team.
So, yeah.
Okay, here we go. Go slow. Talk.
Director, I got ball.
And stop. Good. Okay, that's good. Now, one of the other concepts you have to work on at the higher levels is release. Let's come back. So Hugo is our point guard. Short safety. Let's say you start at short safety. We usually want to put our short safety at the nail to get the rebound. Get the rebound, please. Long bananas. First big starting to go. This is the 5, the big player. And now we take our short safety and run at the little guard at him. Okay? Where's the little guard for the other team? Let's say there's our little guard. He's going to be circling to start your breakout dribble. Now, see the pass, go here. Pass. Now look where the guard's getting the ball. Guard gets the ball here. This is our big, this is our 5. Do we want our 5 on their guard? Gone. So we do not want you running up to take a breakout dribble. Let's rewind. Just stay there with those people. I'm just trying to show this part of it. Come on. You were defense? Yeah. So what we want you to do is to jam this. If your partner gets it 5-on-5, like the big on the big, jam it, and you can go with a breakout dribble. And now let's say you're the guard on offense. So now try to make the outlet pass. Now you can find him wherever he is and match him. So there comes a point in time you don't want your little guard taking a breakout dribble. You got to match that. Okay. The other concept is we were here, and let's say our 5 was not near him when he got the rebound. Forget jamming. We do not want you to run to jam it. You must sprint and release our goalie. You're sprinting. You need to be support ball side, right? And now you're still mad. No, don't you dare take that ball. Oh, this is the guard. We'll give up the breakout to him, and you start finding that guard. Boom, freeze. We'll give up that. We'll give him the dribble. But we don't want to run our guard at the ball and then have him take that. But
My cue for my guard is find the guard.
find the guard. Sometimes it may not be the guard. It's who teams are. Find the primary ball handler that they're going to push to. That's who you're trying to find. Don't be running up at the big, unless your team is all the same size and and that happens, right? But at our level, that doesn't happen. But we've just found if you run your guard at that person. Now, what we really like to get is this. This is the 5 ball here. We've sought the guard. Shea Colley is the best we have at this. Pass goes there. Pass. She's a great director. Start to direct. Now, the 5, this 5's like, my job's done. I can take my time to get down the floor. Well, we want to chase the pass and get this random trap. we were playing in Argentina, and Argentina was staying with us. I mean, playing Argentina in Argentina is not easy. But we got about 2 of these in the third quarter for a steal for a layup, changed the game. And it was just that player got lazy. Shea got on their second guard. They put their best player on the bench for a short period of time. Now, boom, got the 2 traps, steal. Their best guard has to come in earlier than she's expected. Now down the stretch, she misses a couple shots late to win because we wore her down because she had to play more minutes than they wanted.
Even if you don't steal this, if I reverse,
Oh, yeah.
waste of time.
That's right. We might get the 8 seconds, especially the ball's got bobbled a little bit. That one random trap just there, ball goes back, boom, 8 seconds. So we really are encouraging that, remember that structured creativity.
So this is I'm going as a support, and if I see an opportunity
That's right.
to trap.
You know your support role, you can go. Because you don't have to worry about a release because that person's back there. If they're in front, you can't do it. It's off. Okay,
So what exactly are the responsibilities 1 through 5 on the shot? You've got 2.
okay, let's set that up. Can we get 2 more people just to show? Say it again.
If the weak side gets used at all?
Yeah. So the shot, let's just get 5 players out on offense. Defense is my Blues, right? So you be the post because you were down there. So let's say we had a ball was here, got a corner 3 there. We get another corner there, a 2 side, left a high up over there, right in the corner. And be 1, 2, 3, 4, and I need my 5th is right there on offense. So defense, now hold it now. Let's have you go on defense. You go on defense. Offense right here. And then just match up. Just match up on somebody. Your offense? Offense, yeah. Your defense, right? Defense. Now, so let's say a shot came from here. The first position we want filled on the shot, actually there's probably 2 things happening at once, is the goalie or long safety and a hot spot. So who would probably be the goalie? This could, for us, it'll depend on who it is. If this is Nio, she is never going to be the goalie. She is going for an offensive rebound every single time. Why? Because that is her greatest strength. Why would we take it away from her? So she is probably going for the hot spot, which is opposite the shot. Okay? It's probably the goalie. So you're going. Go. You're going for the rebound, hot spot. Okay? Short spot. You're trying to get the spot right here, offense. Okay? You've shot it. You're the guard. You're probably getting where? You're getting to the nail, and you're cleanup. It's kind of our short safety. This person here, you're probably thinking about that long sprint, but you also are kind of watching the shot. And again, it's going to depend on who that person is. If you're a great rebounder, you still may be coming into this spot. In women's basketball, you're rewarded for going to the boards. It's not the same as the men's game. There's a lot more fumble 50-50 balls. In men's game, you get people who go up with one hand and grab it with a big, and they can, so we're not penalized as much. Okay, so let's say you do come in here, you try to get into boards too. Short safety's in around here. Okay, let's say you've got right into there. Now, so the rebound was grabbed. Boom. Jam, you're probably jamming. Where's my long bananas are going? Who's my goalie? Here's where that sprint action's got to take place. Justin, your offense?
I think I'm a guard now.
You're a guard now? Okay, so we need somebody sprinting to take that. Right there.
Support, right?
Yeah.
That would be him or me?
No, you're the guard. You're going to pick up the ball. Who's Justin's the guard? You're picking up the guard. You've got to be sprinting to pick that. You're going to be picking up here. And now we're flowing back down here. Okay? It's not an exact science, but they've got to talk it through. But we definitely want you getting back and that support getting to the ball side. Okay? Krista, what was your question?
Well, a lot of the stuff that we were doing was all on the strong side.
Yep.
So I was just wondering, like, the decision making of when they're going to come the weak side, when they're going to use it.
Offense?
Yeah, on offense.
Well, let's look at finishing the play. Let's go down. So what we want to do is corner, Hugo. Let's turn it around so we're coming this way. So Hugo, you bump the baseline. You're my guard. Justin has the ball. Let's say he's got the ball. First big, stay right there. First big. So we got it guard, corner. This was our, let's say this is our 4-player. In the past, we used to trail into the slot in here. We're now trailing out here. Okay? We're now playing more out here. Your defense.
I'm on offense.
Oh, so that's you then, Krista. Your defense. You go defense. Krista, wider. Wider. Why are we finishing this formation? Space. Pretty dynamic. We have pretty dynamic players. And the rule is get a paint touch. Pick the gap, get a paint touch. That's what we're trying to do. Now our first big, you can go to the front of the rim or the smile. You could exit short corner, ball side, or block away. That's their decision. The second thing is if our 5 was trailing the play, that's a different action. So we do a lot of based on was the 5 in front of the ball or was the 5 behind the ball. That's the roadmap or the cue for what we're going to do. A lot of NBA teams and European teams, you go be on that side. They'll also cue was the ball side corner empty or filled. So there's 4 things they'll watch for. This would be an empty behind. That's going to cue a whole different action than if you go, if filled ahead. Everybody see the 4 things that could happen? And now that just cues you as what you're going to do. You don't have to call anything. Everybody reads the same roadmap. Boom, we know what we're doing. And you just flow right into your offense. That's big now at the higher levels. It's just cued on how you flow down the floor. Okay? Now, what you have to decide is, are we actually getting advantages when we're empty there, or do we need to get someone there? Because what will happen is players, what Mike Meeks always says to me about this is the big all of a sudden says, I just love to be trail all the time because I just get to run a little pick and pop. Instead of, no, we need to get your butt down in there and create an advantage for us. Yeah, but coach, it was trail, it was behind. No. Sometimes they'll self-organize and you've got to get them to do what you need them to do. Okay? The 2 side over there is really dangerous. That's hard to defend. Because a lot of times if we make the pass and there's only one person, whichever one you pick, that's how we're breaking it down. Okay? Now the one action I'll show you that I think is really good for us is a get. Go to the opposite block. So we've come down and you don't have an advantage. You've got to be communicating early what you're flowing into. And what we love is a get. You're just blast cutting right to here. Pass. And what did it now do to the post defender? It clears what? The basket. We want to keep the basket empty. And one of our problems, if we put post players down in there who can't really score down there, they just clog everything up. So by blasting this person up in here, and we want you to catch it kind of like this, and now Justin, you're coming for the ball. Okay? A freeze. The 2 side. Here's a real simple rule. This is the 2 side over here. Is your check in the action? If they're in the action, you're in the action. So right now, this support player is in the action. It could be out, and you go in. That's still in the action. So you have to decide. What we like to do here is what's called, I call it with my girls, a ghost cut. Back cut his head. And the reason I call it a ghost cut, disappear from one spot and reappear in a real scary place. It might be out there. But what it's really doing is giving a double gap for this Justin as he comes off this get. Okay? So that's just, but the thing about the get is you're also a dribbler. He is a live dribbler. And just a couple quick rules. Anytime, let me be you, I'll be you. Anytime Justin goes, and I keep it. Keep going, Justin, curl that right to the rim. Because sometimes you're open there. But now, if it's a single gap away from me, he could still come for another get. If it's a double gap away from me, what do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to go DHO. I'm dribble handoff, a double gap. Single gap, I can call for another get. Double gap, initiate with a dribble handoff. The problem with coming in a single gap, Hugo, if I do a DHO in a single gap, there's a lot of bodies here, okay? But if it's a double gap, I've got time for the dribble. Now, if he's more in a pack line back, I'm probably flipping it to you early and stopping if it's a pack line. If he's more up in a squeeze or tight on you, I'm keeping it right a little later. So those are just some little things that if you get into DHOs and gets and stuff, which I think are wonderful, they really help a lot. Okay? So that's just some of how we flow down. Does that help a little, Krista? Okay. You just got to decide what actions. For me, what I like to do is when our guard's out here, we're either into a 2-player action, gets, picks, or handoffs, or we're into a 3-player action. I'll show you a quick 3-player action. Guard, Justin, come back, goes to guard. Stay in a high post. Scrape. Hugo, scrape. You got to have a signal. This is scrape, so back over half. So he's coming down, giving scrape. So here it comes down. Here it comes just right in the high post. Let him come to you. Yep. Scrape. Ghost cut, Krista. Here comes the scrape to the top. Pass, now free. All we've done is now give him a double gap. Dynamic one-on-one. So a lot of these 3-player screen entries are to get the ball to a location to initiate the next action. That's all they are. It could be dribble handoff. It could be back to pick, right? But it's just a way to start. That's all. A 3-player screen action is just to get into your dynamic pass, cut, fill, and that sort of stuff. But the key is that Justin had to communicate that early. As soon as he sensed we were neutralized, he's communicating that right now. It could be an Iverson, it could be a zipper, it could be I don't care what it is. It's just an action to get it started. Last little one I'll show you. This is the one my girls' team loved to run. GDP. GDP. Get. So we're coming down. Pop for the get. Get. Give it to him. Ghost cut, good. Just stay right there. D is the dribble handoff. And pick. Come right back for the pick. Use the pick. Okay? We just called it GDP. And I told the girls, I said, early in the game, no fakes. Don't fake anything in it. Let's see how they defend all the actions. And then we'll have fun. And then we start to mix, then we just start mixing it up. But early in the game, we would just go GDP, and it looked like a pattern. But then they can start to mix it up, where they fake things out of it. They slip it, okay? The problem was most teams went zone on us, so we never, and it's because there's just so much movement in it, right? And it's fun. But the other thing I like about gets is our 5-player, who, let's be honest, there's not a lot of 5s playing basketball, true 5s, like 6'5" girls. There's a lot of those 5'9" post players that aren't really, handle the ball well, but they get a chance to play and have a great role. They get a chance to handle the ball. They get a chance to make some decisions. Instead of, we think that a post player always has to play down in the block. That's hard nowadays, to play down in there with your back to the basket. But now you're giving them an opportunity to handle the ball, be involved in decision making, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun.